Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a major shift in Canadian immigration policy that will shape Canada's demographic, economic, and social landscape throughout the mid-2020s, including 2026 and beyond. Let's unpack what's changing, why it's happening, who it affects, and what it means for Canada and the world. 2026 is being described by media and analysts as a turning point. After decades of record-high immigration numbers, the federal government has introduced a new immigration levels plan for 2026 to 2028, which significantly changes Canada's intake targets. Permanent resident PR targets are being stabilized at 380,000 per year through 2026 to 2028, slightly lower than 2025's 395,000, but still high compared to most countries. Temporary resident targets, including students and workers, are set to be dramatically reduced. Targets drop from 673,650 in 2025 to 385,000 in 2026, and about 370,000 annually thereafter. Put simply, fewer new students and temporary workers, while permanent immigration remains stable, but more selective. Let's break down the numbers so you really understand the scale of this shift. 2026, 385,000. Down 43% from 2025's plan. Workers, 230,000. Students, 155,000. 2027 and 2028, 370,000 each year. These totals reflect new arrivals only. Permanent residents, steady targets. 2026 to 2028, 380,000 annually, including increased focus on economic immigrants, up to 64% by 2027 to 2028. Canada has shifted from growth at all costs to sustainable growth, especially on the temporary side. Why the shift? The government's rationale. Many factors are driving this new approach. Housing and public services pressure. Long-standing concerns about housing availability, rental prices, schools, and healthcare have intensified public debate about whether immigration grew too fast for infrastructure capacity. Population growth normalizing. Canada's population growth slowed, with Statistics Canada recording one of the slowest increases in recent years, partly due to fewer non-permanent residents. Economy and labor strategy. The government emphasizes targeting labor markets for skilled workers while reducing short-term permits that didn't always meet long-term economic needs. Put together, Ottawa says this is about managing growth sustainably, balancing jobs, housing, community services, and long-term economic goals. What's changing for students and workers? This policy hits temporary residents especially hard. International students and foreign workers. International students. Student permit targets are nearly halved compared to prior plans, from 306,000 to about 155,000 in 2026. For Canadian universities, international tuition fees have been a big source of revenue. A reduction this deep means institutional budgets, course offerings, and campus services may need to adjust. Temporary workers. Temporary work permits will also drop significantly, reflecting a broader goal to bring the temporary resident proportion below 5% of Canada's population by 2027. In key sectors like construction, agriculture, healthcare, and hospitality, many employers worry these cuts could deepen labor shortages. Who stays and who goes? Not all paths out of Canada's immigration system are closing. PNP allocations have grown under the new plan, recognizing that provinces best understand their labor needs. Skilled and high-priority workers remain central to Canada's long-term strategy, with express entry slots maintained or expanded within the economic share. So while general volumes are down, quality and alignment with labor needs are turning into priority metrics. Regional and sectoral impacts. Different parts of Canada feel these changes differently. Rural and remote regions often depend on immigration to counter population decline and labor shortages. Cuts could make it harder to attract newcomers without targeted provincial streams. Some provincial leaders have criticized federal cuts, especially where local economies depend on immigrants in healthcare or construction. Immigration in Canada has historically been less polarizing than in some countries, but these cuts have stirred debate. Supporters say, eases strain on housing and services, better aligns immigration with labor market needs. prioritizes long-term integration. Critics say, risks labor shortages, especially in key industries, could harm international education revenue, may slow demographic renewal. The discussion touches Canada's identity, balancing openness and sustainability. What's next for Canada? As we move deeper into 2026 and beyond, several trends will be crucial to watch. Housing market response: will reduced immigration ease housing prices, or will supply constraints still dominate? Economic growth and jobs: Canada aims to fill skill gaps with targeted immigrants, but can cut scale safely without harming growth? Global reputation: Canada projects itself as a welcoming nation. How will this recalibration shape that narrative? Canada's new immigration targets in 2026 signals a major policy shift, from unprecedented growth toward managed, selective intake aligned with services, labor needs, and long-term planning. If you're a student, a worker, a provincial planner, or someone considering moving to Canada, understanding these changes isn't just useful, it's essential. Thanks for watching. Drop your questions in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for updates.